A prayer of David. Keep my soul, for I am pious. Levi and Rabbi Isaac. The one says, Thus spoke David before the Holy One, blessed be he, Master of the world. Am I not pious? All the kings of the east and the west sleep to the third hour of the day, but I, at midnight I rise to give thanks unto thee. The other one says, Thus spoke David before the Holy One, blessed be he, Master of the world. Am I not pious? All the kings of the east and the west sit with all their pomp among their company, whereas my hands are soiled with the blood of menstruation, with the fetus in the placenta, in order to declare a woman clean for her husband. And what is more, in all that I do I consult my teacher, Mephibosheth, and I say to him, My teacher Mephibosheth, is my decision right? Did I correctly convict, correctly acquit, correctly declare clean, correctly declare unclean? And I am not ashamed to ask. Rabbi Joshua, the son of Rabbi Idi, says which verse may be cited in support. And I recite thy testimonies before kings and am not ashamed. Atenatot, his name was not Mephibosheth. And why then was he called Mephibosheth? Because he humiliated David in the halachah. Therefore was David worthy of the privilege that Chileab should issue from him. Rabbi Johanan said, his name was not Chileab but Daniel. Why then was he called Chileab? Because he humiliated Mephibosheth in the halachah. And concerning him Solomon said in his wisdom, My son, if thy heart be wise, my heart will be glad, even mine. And he said further, My son, be wise, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him that taunteth me. But how could David call himself pious? It is not written, I am not sure, lol, to see the good reward of the Lord in the land of the living. And Atenatot in the name of Rabbi Hosea, why are there doubts upon the world, lol? David spoke before the Holy One, blessed be he, Master of the world. I am sure that you will pay good reward to the righteous in the world to come, but I do not know whether I shall have a share in it. He was afraid that some sin might cause his exclusion. This conforms to the following saying of Rabbi Jacob ben Idi. For Rabbi Jacob ben Idi pointed to a contradiction. One verse reads, And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee whithersoever thou goest. And the other verse reads, Then Jacob was greatly afraid. The answer is that he thought that some sin might cause God's promise not to be fulfilled. Similarly, it has been taught, Till thy people pass over, O Lord, till the people pass over that thou hast gotten. Till thy people pass over, O Lord, this is the first entry into the land. Till the people pass over that thou hast gotten, this is the second entry. Hence the sages say, the intention was to perform a miracle for Israel in the days of Ezra, even as it was performed for them in the days of Joshua ben Nun, but sin caused the miracle to be withheld. The sages say, until midnight. Whose view did the sages adopt? If it is Rabbi Eliezer's view, then let them express themselves in the same way as Rabbi Eliezer. If it is Rabbi Gamaliel's view, let them express themselves in the same way as Rabbi Gamaliel. In reality it is Rabbi Gamaliel's view that they adopted, and the reason for saying, until midnight is to keep a man far from transgression. For so it has been taught, the sages made offense for their words so that a man, on returning home from the field in the evening, should not say, I shall go home, eat a little, drink a little, sleep a little, and then I shall recite the Shema and the Tefillah, and meanwhile, sleep may overpower him, and as a result he will sleep the whole night. Rather should a man, when returning home from the field in the evening, go to the synagogue. If he is used to read the Bible, let him read the Bible, and if he is used to repeat the Mishnah, let him repeat the Mishnah, and then let him recite the Shema and say the Tefillah. Go home and eat his meal and say the grace. And whosoever transgresses the words of the sages deserves to die. Why this difference that, in other cases, they do not say single quote he deserves to die, and here they do say single quote he deserves to die. If you wish, I can say because here there is danger of sleep overpowering him. Or, if you wish, I can say because they want to exclude the opinion of those who say that the evening prayer is only voluntary. Therefore they teach us that it is obligatory. The Master said, let him recite Shema and say the Tefillah. This accords with the view of Rabbi Johanan. For Rabbi Johanan says, who inherits the world to come? The one who follows the Geula immediately with the evening Tefillah. Rabbi Joshua ben Levi says, the Tefillahs were arranged to be said in the middle. What is the ground of their difference? If you like, I can say it is the interpretation of a verse, and if you like, I can say that they reason differently. For Rabbi Johanan argues, though the complete deliverance from Egypt took place in the morning time only, there was also some kind of deliverance in the evening. Whereas Rabbi Joshua ben Levi argues that since the real deliverance happened in the morning, that of the evening was no proper deliverance. Or if you like, I can say it is the interpretation of a verse, and both interpret one and the same verse, viz. When thou liest down and when thou risest up. Rabbi Johanan argues, there is here an analogy between lying down and rising. Just as at the time of rising, recital of Shema precedes Tefillah, so also at the time of lying down, recital of Shema precedes Tefillah. Rabbi Joshua ben Levi argues differently, there is here an analogy between lying down and rising. Just as at the time of rising, the recital of Shema is next to rising from bed, so also at the time of lying down, recital of Shema must be next to getting into bed. Mark ben Rabina raised an objection. In the evening, 2 benedictions precede, and 2 benedictions follow the Shema. Now, if you say he has to join Geula with Tefillah, behold he does not do so, for he has to say in between, let us rest. I reply, since the rabbis ordained the benediction, let us rest, it is as if it were a long Geula. For, if you do not admit that, how can he join in the morning, seeing that Rabbi Johanan says, in the beginning of the Tefillah, one has to say, O Lord, open thou my lips, etc., and at the end one has to say, let the words of my mouth be acceptable? The only explanation there is that, since the rabbis ordained that O Lord, open thou my lips should be said, it is like a long Tefillah. Here, too, since the rabbis ordained that let us rest should be said, it is like a long Geula. Rabbi Elazar ben Abina says, whoever recites the psalm praise of David 3 times daily, is sure to inherit the world to come. What is the reason? Shall I say it is because it has an alphabetical arrangement? Then let him recite, happy are they that are upright in the way, which has an 8-fold alphabetical arrangement. Again, is it because it contains the verse, thou openest thy hand and satisfiest every living thing with favor? Then let him recite the great Hallel, where it is written, who giveth food to all flesh. Rather, the reason is because it contains both. Rabbi Johanan says, why is there no nun in Asher? Because the fall of Israel's enemies begins with it. For it is written, fallen is the virgin of Israel, she shall no more rise. In the West this verse is thus interpreted, she is fallen, but she shall no more fall. Rise, O virgin of Israel. Rabbi Naaman ben Isaac says, even so, David refers to it by inspiration and promises them an uplifting. For it is written, the Lord upholdeth all that fall. Rabbi Elazar ben Abina said furthermore, greater is the achievement ascribed to Michael than that ascribed to Gabriel. For of Michael it is written, then flew unto me one of the seraphim, whereas of Gabriel it is written, the man Gabriel whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly in a flight, etc. How do you know that this word, one, of the seraphim, means Michael? Rabbi Johanan says, by an analogy from the words, one, here it is written, then flew unto me one of the seraphim. And in another place it is written, but, lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Atenatot, Michael reaches his goal in 1 flight, Gabriel in 2, Elijah in 4, and the angel of death in 8. In the time of plague, however, the angel of death, 2, reaches his goal in 1. Rabbi Joshua ben Levi says, though a man has recited the Shema in the synagogue, it is a religious act to recite it again upon his bed. Rabbi C says, which verse may be cited in support? Tremble and sin not. commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. Selah. Rabbi Naaman, however, says, if he is a scholar, then it is not necessary. Abbé says, even a scholar should recite one verse of supplication, as for instance, into thy hand I commit my spirit. Thou hast redeemed me, O Lord, thou God of truth. Rabbi Levi ben Hama says in the name of Rabbi Simeon ben Lachish, a man should always incite the good impulse in his soul to fight against the evil impulse. For it is written, tremble and sin not. If he subdues it, well and good. If not, let him study the Torah. For it is written, commune with your own heart. If he subdues it, well and good. If not, let him recite the Shema. For it is written, upon your bed. If he subdues it, well and good. If not, let him remind himself of the day of death. For it is written, and be still. Selah. Rabbi Levi ben Hama says further in the name of Rabbi Simeon ben Lachish, what is the meaning of the verse? And I will give thee the tables of stone, and the law and the commandment, which I have written that thou mayest teach them. Tables of stone, these are the 10 commandments. The law, this is the Pentateuch. The commandment, this is the Mishnah, which I have written, these are the prophets and the hagiographa. That thou mayest teach them, this is the Gemara. It teaches us that all these things were given to Moses on Sinai. Rabbi Isaac says, if one recites the Shema upon his bed, it is as though he held a two-edged sword in his hand. For it is said, let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. How does it indicate this? Marzutra, some say, Rabbi Ashi says, the lesson is from the preceding verse. For it is written, let the saints exalt in glory, let them sing for joy upon their beds. And then it is written, let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Rabbi Isaac says further, if one recites the Shema upon his bed, the demons keep away from him. For it is said, and the sons of Resheph fly upward. The word up refers only to the Torah, as it is written, wilt thou cause thine eyes to close, if upon it. It is gone. And Resheph refers only to the demons, as it is said, the wasting of hunger, and the devouring of the Resheph, fiery bolt, and bitter destruction. Rabbi Simeon ben Lachish says, if one studies the Torah, painful sufferings are kept away from him. For it is said, and the sons of Resheph fly upward. The word up refers only to the Torah, as it is written, wilt thou cause thine eyes to close upon it. It is goni. And Resheph refers only to painful sufferings, as it is said, the wasting of hunger, and the devouring of the Resheph, fiery bolt. Rabbi Johanan said to him, this is known even to school children. For it is said, and he said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his eyes, and wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon thee which I have put upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. Rather, should you say, if one has the opportunity to study the Torah and does not study it, the Holy One, blessed be he, visits him with ugly and painful sufferings which stir him up. For it is said, I was dumb with silence. I kept silence from the good thing, and my pain was stirred up. The good thing refers only to the Torah, as it is said, for I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my teaching. Rabbi Zerah, some say, Rabbi Hanina ben Papa says, come and see how the way of human beings differs from the way of the Holy One, blessed be he. It is the way of human beings that when a man sells a valuable object to his fellow, the seller grieves and the buyer rejoices. The Holy One, blessed be he, however, is different. He gave the Torah to Israel and rejoiced. For it is said, for I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my teaching. Rabbah, some say, Rabbi Hisda says, if a man sees that painful sufferings visit him, let him examine his conduct. For it is said, let us search and try our ways, and return unto the Lord. If he examines and finds nothing objectionable, let him attribute it to the neglect of the study of the Torah. For it is said, happy is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teachest out of thy law. If he did attribute it thus, and still did not find this to be the cause, let him be sure that these are chastenings of love. For it is said, for whom the Lord loveth he correcteth. Rabbah, in the name of Rabbi Sahara, in the name of Rabbi Hannah, says, if the Holy One, blessed be he, is pleased with a man, he crushes him with painful sufferings. For it is said, and the Lord was pleased with him, hence he crushed him by disease. Now, you might think that this is so even if he did not accept them with love. Therefore it is said, to see if his soul would offer itself in restitution. Even as the trespass offering must be brought by consent, so also the sufferings must be endured with consent. And if he did accept them, what is his reward? He will see his seed, prolong his days, and more than that, his knowledge of the Torah will endure with him. For it is said, the purpose of the Lord will prosper in his hand. Rabbi Jacob ben Didi and Rabbi Ahab ben Hanina differ with regard to the following. The one says, chastenings of love are such as do not involve the intermission of study of the Torah. For it is said, happy is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teachest out of thy law. And the other one says, chastenings of love are such as do not involve the intermission of prayer. For it is said, blessed be God, who hath not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me. Rabbi Abba the son of Rabbi Hiya ben Abba said to them, thus said Rabbi Hiya ben Abba in the name of Rabbi Johanan, both of them are chastenings of love. For it is said, for whom the Lord loveth he correcteth. Why then does it say, and teachest him out of thy law? Do not read Telemedinu, thou teachest him, but Telemedinu, thou teachest us. Thou teachest us this thing out of thy law as a conclusion of fortiori from the law concerning tooth and eye. Tooth and eye are only one limb of the man, and still, if they are hurt, the slave obtains thereby his freedom. How much more so with painful sufferings which torment the whole body of a man? And this agrees with the saying of Rabbi Simeon ben Lachish. For Rabbi Simeon ben Lachish said, the word covenant is mentioned in connection with salt, and the word covenant is mentioned in connection with sufferings. The word covenant is mentioned in connection with salt, as it is written, neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy God to be lacking. And the word covenant is mentioned in connection with sufferings, as it is written, these are the words of the covenant. Even as in the covenant mentioned in connection with salt, the salt lends a sweet taste to the meat, so also in the covenant mentioned in connection with sufferings, the sufferings wash away all the sins of the man. It has been taught, Rabbi Simeon ben Yohai says, the Holy One, blessed be he, gave Israel 3 precious gifts, and all of them were given only through sufferings. These are, the Torah, the land of Israel and the world to come. Whence do we know this of the Torah? Because it is said, happy is the man whom thou chastenest, O Lord, and teachest him out of thy law. Whence of the land of Israel? Because it is written, as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee. And after that it is written, for the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land. Whence of the world to come? Because it is written, for the commandment is a lamp, and the teaching is light, and reproofs of sufferings are the way of life. The ten recited before Rabbi Johanan the following, if a man busies himself in the study of the Torah and in acts of charity and, nonetheless, buries his children, all his sins are forgiven him. Rabbi Johanan said to him, I grant you Torah and acts of charity, for it is written, by mercy and truth iniquity is expiated. Mercy is acts of charity, for it is said, he that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, prosperity and honor. Truth is Torah, for it is said, buy the truth and sell it not. But how do you know what you say about the one who buries his children? A certain elder thereupon recited to him in the name of Rabbi Simeon ben Yohai. It is concluded from the analogy in the use of the word iniquity. Here it is written, by mercy and truth iniquity is expiated. And elsewhere it is written, and who recompenseth the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children.